Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Tension high in downtown Kingston following quadruple murder. Hospitalizations again on the increase due to COVID. And later in sports, Reggae Boy wins Player of the Month award in the English. Here are the details. Up first, there is high tension in West Kingston following the fatal shooting of 4 men this morning. The police and the military have been deployed to the area to prevent further reprisal attacks. Now our reporter Kirk Wright joins us live via phone. He's in the area tracking these developments. Kirk, what's the latest?
Giovanni, it's chaos in downtown Kingston right now. At the moment, I'm at West Parade where the latest of about 5 murders that took place in downtown Kingston happened this morning. The first one, we understand, happened sometime after 7. But let me take you to this one. The last one here is at the Popeyes food court at West Parade, where a man was sitting on a stool just outside the restaurant, where we understand that someone walked up to him with gun in hand and shot him several times. As we speak, I'm just getting reports of another murder that just happened at Petron Street. Haven't been able to get any information at all on that one. But early this morning, a double murder at Darling Street. 2 men were shot and killed. One, we understand, was in a car. And following that, a reprisal, it's understood, took place at Matches Lane. Now, we've been trying to get information from the police, but we have been unable to do so. I spoke with DCP Blake this morning, who committed that he would have spoken to me, but I suppose the murders are happening so frequent behind one another that he has not got a chance to speak with me. So, a double murder this morning on Darling Street, one reprisal at Matches Lane, then the murder at the food court at West Parade, and now we're hearing about another murder at Petron Street. So far, shoppers are here, they're moving around. People are still trying to get their supplies. It's lockdown. The lockdown starts at midday today. Shoppers, we understand, stores are supposed to be closing at midday, so people can get their supplies. But people are here. People are just passing by and looking to see what's happening. But right now it's chaos downtown, and a police source have said to me that they expect more reprisals based on the persons who were killed this morning. Gio?
With police expecting more reprisals, Kurt, could you give us a background into this feud that you speak about? Because we understand it's a feud between warring factions downtown. Could you give us some background information?
It's gang-related. It's a long-standing war between men from Tivoli Gardens, we understand, Denham Town, and a gang from Stranglers, we understand. So that's the root of it, based on what we've been told from highly placed sources. And so they say, based on the killings this morning, it is strongly believed that there could be more reprisals. We have seen a large detachment of police and military in the area. We're not sure, based on the nature of the shooting this morning and the fact that it's happening in the market district. It's hard for the police to be everywhere. The fact that this morning a man just walked up with a gun in the market district and he was able to shoot the man at the food court. It's going to be hard for the police to know when and where these murders will take place, but they're on the ground nonetheless. Giovanni?
Thanks so much, Kirk Wright. Our reporter Kirk Wright there speaking to us from downtown Kingston, where at least 4 people have been murdered in an ongoing gang violence in downtown Kingston. Of course, we'll continue tracking that story, and we will have further details in primetime news at 7. To other news now, hospitalizations have again surpassed the 800 mark. 812 people were admitted with the respiratory virus on Thursday, up from the 740 on Wednesday. 51 are critically ill, while 106 are severely ill. 23,229 active cases of the virus are on the island. In the meantime, 638 new cases were recorded from 1,841 tests. The total case count is 74,645. The positivity rate is now 36.1%. The coronavirus also claimed 8 more lives in Jamaica, pushing the death toll to 1,693. The deaths were recorded between August 10 and September 8. As of today, the Health Ministry will suspend administering the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine. That announcement was made during the ministry's COVID conversations on Thursday. Shamala Pullen reports.
According to Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, there are 70,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine in stock, which are being reserved for persons awaiting their second dose of the vaccine.
We have not yet confirmed the arrival date of the second shipment of Pfizer vaccines from the United States. Remember, this was a gift to be delivered in tranches. We got the first 200,000+ doses. We have used up approximately half of that. And the period of time that it takes to administer the second dose is 3 weeks approximately, unlike the AstraZeneca, which could be from 8 to 12 weeks. And so because of the uncertainty of the arrival of the second shipment, we want to ensure that those who receive their first dose can get their second dose within the period of time that is stipulated.
Dr. Tufton says this will have implications on the 12 to 18 age groups, but he's hoping the next shipment will not be long from now. That aside, the country's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa Mackenzie, says so far, only 5.1% of the Jamaican population is fully vaccinated.
We have another 11.6% of persons that would have received a first dose. So a total of 17.2% of persons that would have received, have some immunity conferred by vaccination, which means that there is 82.8% of the population that is still unvaccinated and are at risk.
The CMO says the unvaccinated continues to be a major problem at hospitals. She says between 96 to 98% of COVID patients are suffering from complications. She's calling on Jamaicans to take the vaccine, especially the Johnson & Johnson, that has a lower take-up rate compared to the other brands.
We have over 12,000 persons that have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And we really want to encourage the public. The Johnson & Johnson is a safe vaccine. It is very convenient. You only have to take one dose. It is safe in persons that are over the age of 18, in persons who have illnesses, comorbidities, persons who are immunocompromised, pregnant persons, persons that are breastfeeding. All these categories need to take the vaccines, and we are encouraging you to take the Johnson & Johnson. It's simpler, it's easier, it's one dose.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says Jamaica has procured a genome sequencing machine to test for variants of COVID-19.
We expect arrival in the country within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And this, of course, will allow us to test for variant strains without having to send samples to locations overseas. And so that is a good development based on discussions that we have had with the suppliers.
Day news, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when you return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. The Mandeville Regional Hospital in Manchester, which has been bursting at the seams with increased COVID hospitalizations, has gotten some reprieve. This following the promised relocation of outpatient services to the nearby Seventh-day Adventist Church. Krista Campbell has the details.
Hundreds of persons who would have turned up at an already overcrowded Mandeville Regional Hospital in Manchester redirected to the Seventh-day Adventist Church Hall. It's just across from the hospital and is providing much-needed space for COVID patients who are either moderately ill or in critical condition.
Today we have medical clinic, urology, and ENT. And those patients are here and they are being served.
Hospital staff say they're happy for an open space with better ventilation to house the outpatients and say they were prepared for the crowd which turned up on the first day of operations at the new location.
For outpatients clinics on any given day, we may have as many as 4 separate disciplines seeing patients concurrently. And based on our usual habits, we know we can have up to 400 outpatients in a day. Although we have made efforts to strategically reduce our clinics only to those that need to be seen, there are still a lot of patients that need to be seen.
Meanwhile, back at the hospital, the outpatient department is being repurposed to house other patients who are not being treated for the coronavirus.
On many of the wards, those COVID-negative patients would have been displaced by positive. So we'll keep the positive in the isolations areas and those other areas that they can be secured, and we'll use the outpatient department to keep negative patients.
Meanwhile, the CEO says a recent donation of oxygen regulators and other medical supplies from Mandeville Custis Garfield Green, Clarendon Custis William Shaguri, and other sponsors will help ease the burden brought on by the pandemic.
We have gotten sanitation supplies, we have gotten PPEs, we have gotten the lounge chairs which we so badly needed, and which we'll be using in the respiratory triage tent and other areas to make our patients more comfortable while they are waiting. We have gotten assistance, voluntary help in improving on our respiratory triage tent. And there are other persons who have indicated that they will be helping us with funds to buy equipment to better serve the public.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
And it's now time for the Business Minute. Here's Cody and Barrett.
Pulse Investment Limited has secured a new bond of $1.1 billion, arranged and underwritten by Barita Investments. This follows the company's first capital raise of $1.21 billion earlier this year, which was comprised of a $400 million short-term loan and a $770 million note extended to Pulse by a related party. The bond will repay the $400 million short-term loan and finance the first phase of a 30-home real estate development in the valley at Villarenai, branded as Pulse Homes. Construction is planned to start later this year once all related approvals are in hand. And in business internationally, according to the U.S. Labor Department on Friday, the U.S. Producer Price Index rose by 0.7% in August. That's down from a 1% jump in July. The Core Producer Price Index, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, rose 0.3% in August, down from a 0.9% gain in the prior month. Overall, producer prices are up 8.3% in August from a year earlier, though up from 7.8% in the prior month. That's the largest gain since the data was first collected in November 2010.
Now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, a 5.2 magnitude earthquake rocked several Caribbean islands on Thursday night, but there were no immediate reports of damage or injuries. The Trinidad-based Seismic Research Center of the St. Augustine campus of University of the West Indies, UWI, said that the quake occurred at 8:43 p.m. and was at a depth of 10 kilometers. It was felt 79 kilometers northeast of the capital of the French island of Guadeloupe, 84 kilometers southeast of St. John's, the capital of Antigua and Barbuda, and 173 kilometers of Roseau, the capital of Dominica. It said the latest quake followed one with a magnitude of 3.2 on September 6. Prime Minister Mia Mottley on Thursday announced longer curfew hours among adjustments to COVID-19 measures as cases continue to rise in Barbados. In an address to the nation, she said that the current 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew will change for 2 weeks in the first instance and possibly an additional 2 weeks depending on vaccination numbers. Prime Minister Mottley said while her administration had no intention of shutting down Barbados, the country had to slow down. Further afield, a new government has been formed in crisis-ridden Lebanon, ending an over-year-long power vacuum that began shortly after the August 2020 Beirut port blast. The new Prime Minister, Najib Mikati, who has previously served twice as Prime Minister, says the situation in Lebanon is difficult but not impossible. Mikati is the third politician tasked with forming a government since a massive blast destroyed Beirut's port and much of the surrounding area last August. And that's it for the top regional and international stories. I'm Shane Masters.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Simon Preston. Reggae boy Michael Antonio has been awarded the Premier League Player of the Month award for August in the English Premier League. The 31-year-old is the recipient of this award after tallying 4 goals and 3 assists in 3 games for West Ham United last month. His contributions have been pivotal to West Ham United as it has taken them second in the league on 7 points. Antonio has been given the praise to David Moyes for getting this award.
I have to put it down to the manager, to be fair. There's a lot of stuff that we work on, our work rate, and our ability to counter quite quickly. I'm looking to try and get probably 15 goals this year, and I don't know how many assists. I haven't decided on that one yet.
On Saturday. Captain of the Jamaica Talawas, Rovman Powell, says their positive approach with the bat in the opening 6 overs played a big role in their victory over the St. Lucia Kings on Thursday. The Talawas recorded their 4th win of the season after securing a 55-run win at the Warner Park Sports Complex in St. Kitts. The win takes the Talawas up to 3rd in the table on 8 points.
And might be another one.
I think the power play, I think the guys set it up well. For the start of the competition, we're finding ourselves in some problems in the power play. Also to the bowling unit, I think they stick to the plans and also the fielding unit. So I think it was a pretty good game from the guys.
The Talawas will end the group stages with back-to-back games against the Guyana Amazon Warriors on Saturday and Sunday. Only the top 4 will advance to the semi-finals. And finally this afternoon, the West Indies under-19 team suffered their 3rd loss of their tour of England after going down by 9 wickets in their 4th 50-over game in Canterbury on Friday. Batting first, the Caribbean side were bowled out for 135 inside 41 overs. Rivaldo Clark top scored with 37. Thomas Aspinwall and Sonny Baker took 3 wickets each for the home side. In reply, England's under-19s raced to their target inside 18 overs thanks to Barbadian-born Jacob Bethel, who top scored with 67. George Thomas also ended unbeaten on 59. Matthew Nandu took 1 for 18 for the Caribbean side. England leads the 6-game series 3-1. The 5th game is slated for Tuesday at the same venue. And that is it for your Midday Sports Report. I'm Simon Preston. Giovanni, it is over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Simon, and that's it indeed for the Midday News. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.